Silent salvation. Maya Reed rubbed her eyes as she checked the clock on the hospital wall. 3 a.m. The pediatric oncology night shift stretched endlessly before her. 6 years into nursing, and the overnight hours still felt like swimming through molasses. She paused outside room 312, listening to the soft beeping of monitors. Inside, 8-year-old Zoe slept fitfully, another young life hanging in the balance. Bone marrow transplant tomorrow. If they found a match. Maya's phone vibrated in her pocket. Unknown number. Hello? She whispered, stepping into the empty break room. Is this Maya Reed? A woman's voice, crisp and professional. Yes, who's calling at this hour? Dr. Levine from the International Donor Registry. I apologize for the time, but this is urgent. You're a match. Maya's exhaustion evaporated. 6 months ago, she had registered as a bone marrow donor after watching too many children wait endlessly for compatible matches. Who am I a match for? She asked, her heart racing. That's confidential, but it's critical. The recipient has a rare condition, and you're the only viable donor we found. 3 days later, Maya lay in a hospital bed across town, watching her marrow being collected. The procedure wasn't painless, but she focused on Zoe and all the patients like her. Someone somewhere needed this life-giving tissue. That was enough. You're doing something extraordinary, the collection specialist said as the final vial was labeled. Maya smiled tiredly. Just being human. What Maya couldn't know was that her marrow was being rushed not to a human recipient, but to a secret medical facility disguised as a research institute on the outskirts of the city. Inside a sterile room designed to simulate the atmosphere of a distant world, Orion Laresh lay dying. His purple skin had faded to a sickly lavender, his normally bright amber eyes dulled with pain. The human donor material is here, Dr. Eliza Harris announced, entering the isolation chamber in full protective gear. As one of the few human physicians aware of the small population of Xanthonian refugees living secretly on Earth, she had worked tirelessly to find a solution to the mysterious illness affecting Orion. Will it work? Asked Terran, Orion's assistant and fellow Xanthonian, his own purple skin shimmering with stress patterns. Theoretically, yes. The genetic markers are remarkably compatible, but we've never attempted a cross-species transplant of this nature. Orion's eyes fluttered open. No choice, he whispered. Diplomatic summit in 3 weeks. Must be there. Dr. Harris nodded grimly. As the Xanthonian ambassador to Earth, Orion's presence at the upcoming secret negotiations was crucial. Only a handful of high-ranking officials even knew of his species' existence on Earth. Their diplomatic mission had remained hidden for decades, preparing humanity for eventual first contact. The donor? Orion asked weakly. Anonymous, as requested by your government. We told the registry it was for a classified military patient. As the human bone marrow was carefully processed and prepared for transfer, Orion closed his eyes, sending a silent thanks to whoever had given part of themselves to save a stranger. Across the city, Maya recovered in her small apartment, taking a rare week off from the hospital. She stood at her window looking at the stars, wondering whose life she might have saved. The bone marrow registry had strict rules about anonymity, at least for the first year. After that, both parties could agree to contact. She pressed her hand to the tender spot on her hip. Be well, she whispered to the unknown recipient. Whoever you are. In the secret facility, as Maya's cells began to integrate with his alien biology, Orion opened his eyes, feeling stronger already. Something unexpected happened. For just a moment he could swear he heard a woman's voice whispering, "Be well." He looked around the empty room, confused by the phantom sensation. Dr. Harris noticed his expression. Everything all right? Orion nodded slowly. Yes, just thought I heard something. He closed his eyes again, the sensation of connection lingering like a phantom touch. Neither Maya nor Orion realized that their lives had just become irrevocably intertwined, their cells merging in ways medical science had never anticipated, healing boundaries. 3 months after the transplant, Maya's life had returned to its familiar rhythm, night shifts at Children's Memorial, Sunday coffee with her sister, and quiet evenings with medical journals and her cat, Newton. She had almost forgotten about her bone marrow donation until a strange man appeared at the hospital. Excuse me, he said, approaching the nurse's station. I'm looking for Maya Reed. Maya glanced up from her charts, momentarily speechless. The visitor stood over 6 feet tall with unusual features that seemed almost too perfect. He wore dark glasses indoors and a high-collared coat despite the warm spring day. Something about him seemed off. his movements too precise, his posture too rigid. "That's me," she finally said, professional smile in place. "Can I help you?" The stranger's expression changed subtly. "Maya Reed, the donor." Alarm bells rang in Maya's mind. Donor registry rules prohibited contact before 1 year had passed. "I'm sorry, who are you?" "My name is Orion. Could we speak privately?" 20 minutes later, they sat in the hospital courtyard. Orion had removed his dark glasses, revealing eyes the color of amber honey that seemed to catch the sunlight strangely. "What you did saved my life," he said simply. "I needed to thank you personally." Maya frowned. "How did you find me?" "The registry doesn't disclose donor information." Orion's smile didn't quite reach his eyes. "I have resources. That's concerning," Maya replied, "and potentially illegal. Is your privacy worth more than allowing someone to express gratitude for their life?" He countered. Maya studied him carefully. Something wasn't adding up. "Are you feeling well now?" "The recovery from whatever condition you had can be difficult." "Better than expected," Orion said. "Your cells were exceptionally compatible." An uncomfortable silence stretched between them. Maya had questions she couldn't articulate, about why this man seemed so strange, why his gratitude felt laden with something unspoken. "I should get back to work," she finally said, standing. "I'd like to see you again," Orion said abruptly. "Perhaps dinner?" Maya blinked in surprise. "I don't think that's appropriate. I'm glad you're recovering well, but there's a reason for the anonymity rules." Orion stood, moving closer. "Maya," he said softly, and something in his voice resonated through her body like a tuning fork. "Since receiving your cells, I've felt connected to you. I need to understand why." Before she could respond, her pager buzzed urgently. "I have to go. Please don't come back here." Rushing back to the pediatric ward, Maya tried to shake the strange encounter from her mind. But throughout her shift, she felt an odd awareness, as if she could sense Orion's presence even after he'd gone. After work, she discovered a business card in her locker with an address and tomorrow's date written on the back. Beneath it, elegant handwriting, "Please come. I can explain everything." At home, Maya researched Orion online, finding nothing but a vague reference to a scientific research institute on the city outskirts. Her nursing instincts told her to maintain boundaries with this strange man. Yet something deeper, something almost cellular, pulled her toward the mystery he presented. The next evening, against her better judgment, Maya drove to the address. It led to an unmarked building surrounded by advanced security. At the gate, she gave her name and was immediately admitted. Inside, Orion waited in what appeared to be a medical laboratory. Alone. "Thank you for coming," he said, his strange amber eyes watching her intently. "You have 10 minutes to explain why you're stalking me," Maya replied firmly. Orion sighed, then slowly removed his high-collared jacket. As the fabric slipped away, Maya gasped. Beneath it, Orion's skin shimmered with a distinct purple undertone that no human complexion could possess. "What are you?" she whispered. "Someone who needed your help," he replied. "Someone who still does." "Genetic resonance, you're not human," Maya said, her voice barely audible as she stared at Orion's purple skin. "Xanthonian," he corrected gently. "My species has maintained a small diplomatic presence on Earth for 70 years, preparing for eventual open contact." Maya backed toward the door. "This is insane. Please," Orion said, not moving toward her. "Your marrow saved me from a disease our physicians couldn't treat. But something unexpected happened during the transplant." Despite her fear, medical curiosity flickered in Maya's eyes. "What happened?" "A synchronization between our biologics. Unprecedented." Orion gestured to monitoring equipment nearby. "Our cellular structures are integrating in ways that should be impossible." "That's why you found me," Maya said, realization dawning. "Not just gratitude," Orion nodded. "I began experiencing sensations, emotional echoes, sometimes thoughts that weren't mine." Maya felt lightheaded. "Are you saying we're telepathically linked?" "Not precisely, but there is a connection forming between us." "Have you felt nothing unusual these past months?" Maya's mind raced, cataloging small moments, inexplicable emotions that seemed to come from nowhere, vivid dreams of places she'd never seen, occasional thoughts in a language she didn't recognize. "I thought I was just stressed," she whispered. Dr. Eliza Harris entered the lab. her presence somewhat reassuring in its normalcy. "Maya, I'm sorry for the secrecy. I was the physician who coordinated your donation. We never anticipated this outcome." Over the next hour, Maya learned about Xanthonians, refugees from a distant world, their diplomatic mission on Earth, and the strange compatibility between her specific genetic markers and Orion's alien biology. "We believe your cells are creating a biological bridge between our species," Dr. Harris explained, showing complex molecular diagrams. "It's revolutionary, potentially healing for both humans and Xanthonians." "Why me?" Maya asked, overwhelmed. "Randomized genetic compatibility," Orion replied. "One in several million probability. What happens now?" Orion's expression softened. "We'd like to study this connection with your consent. It could advance medical science for both our worlds." Despite her rational mind screaming caution, Maya felt a pull toward Orion that transcended ordinary attraction. Something in her recognized something in him, at a level beyond conscious thought. "I need time to process this," she said finally. "Of course," Orion agreed, "but I should warn you. The connection appears to be strengthening. Distance may not diminish its effects." As if to confirm his words, when their eyes met, Maya felt a wave of his emotions wash through her. Gratitude, fascination, concern, and something warmer she couldn't name. Over the following weeks, Maya found herself drawn back to the research facility repeatedly. Each visit revealed more about the unprecedented cellular synchronization between human and Xanthonian biology. Each conversation with Orion deepened their unusual connection. Despite initial fear, Maya began to find comfort in their strange bond. When pediatric patients coded during her shifts, Orion would text minutes later, somehow sensing her distress. When he experienced migraines from Earth's atmosphere, she felt phantom pain behind her eyes. One evening, analyzing cellular samples together, their hands brushed. Electricity seemed to arc between them, and for a moment, Maya could see through Orion's eyes. The world filtered through different wavelengths, colors more vibrant, energies visible around living things. "Did you feel that?" he whispered, his amber eyes wide. Maya nodded, unable to speak. The scientific mystery of their connection was evolving into something far more intimate, a joining that neither had anticipated nor could easily define. "I think," Orion said carefully, "that our cells aren't just compatible, they're seeking each other." As he spoke, Maya felt the truth of his words resonating through her body. Whatever was happening between them was beyond medical science. It was something ancient and new simultaneously. Two different forms of life recognizing each other across the gulf of evolution and stars. Cellular memory. 6 months after the bone marrow transplant, Maya sat in her apartment staring at a journal filled with notations of dreams, sensations and memories that weren't hers. The connection with Orion had strengthened beyond anything the research team had predicted. Last night, she had dreamed of a purple ocean beneath twin moons. She had never seen Xanthon, yet she could describe its capital city in perfect detail. These weren't just dreams. They were Orion's memories filtering through their shared cellular bond. Her phone chimed with a text from Orion. "Can you come to the facility? Important discovery." At the research center, Maya found Orion in the main laboratory with Dr. Harris. Both looked troubled. "What's wrong?" Maya asked, immediately sensing Orion's unease through their connection. Dr. Harris gestured to microscopic images on the main screen. "The cellular integration is accelerating. Your DNA is showing traces of Xanthonian markers." Cold fear washed through Maya. "Am I changing?" "Not physically," Orion assured her quickly. "But at the genetic level there are adaptations occurring." "Why didn't you tell me this could happen?" Maya demanded, anger flaring. "Because we didn't know," Dr. Harris answered. "This is unprecedented." "There's more," Orion said quietly. "The connection goes both ways. My cells are adopting human characteristics." Maya stared at him. "What does that mean for you?" Orion wouldn't meet her eyes. "I've been recalled to Xanthon. My superiors are concerned about contamination risks." "Contamination?" Maya repeated, hurt flooding through her. "Is that how you see our connection?" "Not me," Orion said quickly. "Never me." "But the diplomatic council. When were you planning to tell me?" Maya interrupted. Orion's silence was answer enough. Through their bond, Maya felt his conflict, his reluctance, and beneath it all a deep fear of separation. "You were just going to leave," she whispered. "After everything." "I fought against it," Orion insisted. "I've requested to remain on Earth to continue our research." Our research, Maya echoed bitterly. Is that all this is to you? Without waiting for his response, she turned and left the facility, tears blurring her vision. Back in her apartment, Maya tried to block the emotions flooding through their connection. Orion's regret, his longing, his frustration. That night, lying in bed, Maya felt a strange pulling sensation. Following the feeling, she realized she could sense Orion's location. He was outside her building. Opening her window, she looked down to see him standing in the street looking up at her. Even from a distance, their connection hummed between them like a physical force. Go away, she called down. I can't, he replied simply. We need to talk about what's happening to us. Reluctantly, Maya buzzed him into the building. When he entered her apartment, the proximity intensified their bond to an almost painful degree. There's something I didn't tell you, Orion admitted. Something the council discovered about our connection. Maya crossed her arms protectively. More secrets? The cellular bond we share. It's not just genetic compatibility. It's recognition. What does that mean? Orion stepped closer, his amber eyes intense. Xanthonian mythology speaks of soul resonance, when cells recognize their cosmic complement across species, across worlds. Despite her anger, Maya felt the truth of his words resonating through her body. You're saying we're what, soulmates? I'm saying our connection isn't accidental. Your cells call to mine and mine to yours across impossible distances. And your council wants to separate us because of this? They fear what they don't understand, Orion said softly. But I can't leave you. The separation would be unbearable. As he spoke, Maya felt his emotions flooding through her, not just through their psychic connection, but through his eyes, his voice, the subtle pattern shifting across his purple skin. What are we going to do? She whispered. Orion's hand reached for hers, their fingers intertwining. I don't know, but we'll figure it out together. When their skin touched, the connection between them flared like a supernova, memories and emotions flowing freely between human and alien. In that moment, Maya understood that whatever happened next, they were irrevocably part of each other. Two separate beings becoming something entirely new. Molecular harmony. Dawn light filtered through Maya's apartment windows as she and Orion sat surrounded by research papers, medical journals, and historical texts from Xanthon. They had spent the night developing a presentation for both the Earth Liaison Committee and the Xanthonian Diplomatic Council. Do you think they'll listen? Maya asked, rubbing her tired eyes. Orion's purple skin shimmered with hope patterns. They have to. What's happening between us could change everything. In the month since their confrontation, they had worked tirelessly to understand and document their unique bond. Dr. Harris had confirmed that the cellular integration had stabilized, creating a perfect balance between human and Xanthonian biology that enhanced rather than threatened either species. More significantly, they had discovered that their connection wasn't unique in history, just exceedingly rare. Ancient Xanthonian texts referenced star-crossed bonds between their explorers and other species. Earth mythologies contained similar accounts, often interpreted as divine intervention or mystical phenomena. It's time, Orion said, gathering their materials. The Joint Council convenes in an hour. The meeting took place in a secure underground facility beneath the city. Representatives from both worlds sat around a circular table, high-ranking human officials who knew of the Xanthonian presence on Earth, and Xanthonian diplomats whose purple skin gleamed under the artificial lights. Maya felt distinctly out of place among these powerful figures, but Orion's steady presence beside her provided courage. Through their bond, she could feel his determination, his certainty that their connection mattered beyond personal feelings. Members of the Joint Council, Orion began formally. We present evidence that the cellular integration between myself and Maya Reed represents not a contamination risk, but an evolutionary opportunity. For the next hour, they presented their findings. How Maya's bone marrow had not only saved Orion's life but created a biological bridge between species. How their cellular bond had stabilized into a harmonious exchange that enhanced their natural abilities. And most importantly, how their connection offered medical advances that could benefit both worlds. The telepathic bond is merely the most visible aspect, Maya explained, showing brain scans. At the cellular level, we're seeing accelerated healing, enhanced immunity, and resistance to environmental stressors. Most significantly, Orion added, Our research suggests this compatibility isn't random mutation, but an evolutionary pathway that exists in perhaps one in several million individuals across both our species. When they finished, the council chambers fell silent. Finally, the Xanthonian High Counselor spoke. Ambassador Orion, you propose that instead of separation, we should study this bond further? Yes, Counselor. Maya and I represent a unique opportunity to understand cross-species compatibility at its most fundamental level. And what of the personal aspects of this bond? Asked a human representative pointedly. You two are clearly more than research partners. Maya felt heat rise to her cheeks, but Orion answered without hesitation. Our personal connection is inseparable from the biological one, he acknowledged. We have discovered that emotional resonance strengthens cellular integration. In simpler terms, our bond thrives on closeness. His amber eyes met Maya's, and through their connection flowed all the words they hadn't said aloud, how their initial scientific curiosity had evolved into deeper understanding, how shared memories had built bridges between their different worlds, how the touch of skin against skin had become as necessary as breathing. After hours of deliberation, the council reached a decision. Orion would remain on Earth, continuing his diplomatic duties while participating in ongoing research with Maya. Their unprecedented bond would be studied as a potential model for future human-Xanthonian relations, perhaps even the key to eventual public first contact between the worlds. As they left the facility, relief washed through them both, their emotions mingling across their shared consciousness. What now? Maya asked softly as they stood beneath a star-filled sky. Orion's fingers intertwined with hers, purple against tan, alien against human, each completing the other. Now we discover what we can become together, he replied. Not just human, not just Xanthonian, but something entirely new. That night, as they lay together in Maya's small apartment, their bodies found the same harmony their cells had discovered. Different yet perfectly complementary, separate beings becoming one without losing themselves. Maya traced the patterns on Orion's purple skin, feeling the echo of her touch through their bond. Do you ever regret receiving my cells, knowing what complications would follow? Orion's amber eyes glowed in the darkness as he pulled her closer. Your cells didn't just save my life, Maya. They gave it meaning. Through their connection, she felt the absolute truth of his words. How her human biology had changed him irreversibly. How his alien perspective had expanded her understanding of life itself. 1 year after an anonymous bone marrow donation, Maya Reed and Orion of Xanthon stood at the threshold of something unprecedented. A bridge between worlds built not of technology or diplomacy, but of the most fundamental building blocks of life itself. As they drifted to sleep, their minds touching across the invisible bridge between them, their final thoughts merged into a single shared understanding. Some connections transcend biology, transcend species, transcend stars. Some connections rewrite the very definition of what it means to be alive in a universe full of differences, waiting to become harmonies.